Hello, Kindred Spirits, and welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be diving in to your biggest and highest energies for the month of October, as well as looking into Libra season. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful Kindred Spirits, and anyone new joining us here on the channel today. Today we are getting into the spooky season, looking into your month of October, looking deeper into any spiritual things that are happening, but also specifically looking into Libra season and the big energies that are going to be coming in for your month to really give you a good overview. So we're going to be looking at the piles here in a moment, but because it is spooky season, I have Samhain spell and ritual papers out right now. So if you want to get some art magic going, play around with some more spiritual things with protection and maybe even automatic writing or working with spirits at this time in which you want to write letters to or perform rituals with, this is the perfect time to get some Samhain spell and ritual papers for me to really dive deep into that kind of magic. But not only do I create handmade spell and ritual papers, but I also like to hand carve rubber stamps for you to use for your magical purposes, for your own particular sigils that you use often, or carving a particular stamp that you use in your bullet journals or in your grimoire or Book of Shadows often, then I would love to carve that stamp for you or carve multiple stamps for you that is customly designed and just for you. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely feel free to reach out for that, as I've been loving doing those. And as always, if you're interested in a much deeper snail mail reading, those are open right now as well, where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter, sent wax sealed closed for your eyes only, so you can really dive deep into any question, query, or theme that's been on your mind. So lots of helpful, honest reviews over on my Instagram down below, as well as sending me an email. I would love to send more information your way on any or all of these different offerings that I provide to support you this magical season. So thank you to any support that you send this way to the channel or to support yourself with these offerings. But we're going to go ahead and look at the piles here. So we have 3 different piles you can choose from today with little ingredients in these bottles here. So for pile number 1, if you're feeling called to this little vial of some blue spruce needles, then this may be the pile for you. Here for pile number 2, you may be called to this one for this eye of Newt, or better known as little mustard seeds. So if you're feeling called to the mustard seeds, that's pile 2. And last but not least here for pile number 3, if you're feeling called to this one full of apple seeds, then this may be the pile for you. So that's pile number 3. But before you start heading off to the piles and to the timestamps, I'd like to invite you to take a deep breath here with me in a moment so you can really connect with your guides, call in them if you'd like to, or to use this as an opportunity to just slow down your brain before we get into the piles. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath together here now. And as always, there's no rules to this. You can choose all 3 of the piles if you'd like to. You can take bits and pieces from each of them. You can choose a pile, change your mind, whatever you'd like. All of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video. And as I mentioned earlier, if you'd like a custom sigil stamp or magical symbol stamp that I create for you, if you want some magical spell and ritual papers, or if you want to get your own personal snail mail reading, then feel free to reach out for those down below through my email. So with that all said, let's go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you decide to choose these little blue spruce needles, then this is the pile for you, so that you can be looking ahead into your month of October. And we're going to really dive deep with the charms, several different oracle decks, and the main tarot deck being the Antique Anatomy Tarot, perfect for this very spooky month. So I'm excited to dive into it. It was calling out to me today, practically screaming at me. So we're going to be using this one today and see what comes forward for you guys. And not only for the month of October in general, but we're going to look into blessings as well as looking into your Libra season, which we kind of already did touch on with my last video, so feel free to check that one out for what's in and out of balance in your life. But we're going to look into other sides of the Libra sign and see what comes forward too for Libra season. So happy birthday to anyone who is a Libra out there, and if you're not, this still applies because it affects all of us. So let's go ahead and start first, though, with what's coming in for your month of October. Feel free to get a spooky drink, get cozy, comfy, and settled, and send your energy in, put your own intuition cap on, and we're going to get started here with the 3 main energies coming forward for the month of October for Group 1. So Group 1, what do you got going on for your month of October? What is showing up for you? So first off, you have the 6 of Elixirs, also known as the 6 of Cups. Let's see what else alongside that. You have the Devil card showing up here as well. And then we'll see one more and we'll talk about them. Group 1 for the month of October here. Okay. The Page of Coins showing up here as well for you all. So you have the Page of Coins, or the Page of Pentacles, the Devil, and the 6 of Cups. It's interesting that you got a page because the suit of Elixirs, or the suit of Cups, especially in the 6, can have a lot to do with wanting to look back to the past, wanting to kind of feel nostalgic, feel that feeling. I feel like this happens, at least for me, a lot of the time in October and in the fall and spring season, because everything is changing and there's a lot to look upon to the past with things, especially as we fall back in time or fall back like the leaves falling. There's this feeling of wanting to look back to things, looking back at how things were, reflecting on the past, and beginning to feel that feeling of wanting to kind of go back to a simpler time, or a more, there's like this, I don't know, there's just this fall energy. I feel like if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But there's this feeling just in general that you're feeling nostalgic a lot this month. You're wanting to look back to the past, wanting to reflect on things, and maybe look to the past for a good reason. But also it seems that to sort of nurture an inner child of yours, a feeling of that nostalgia, of course, but also because you have the Devil showing up here next to this page, it makes me think that like you're using past experiences as well to make sure that they don't happen to someone else in your life. Like there's this feeling of wanting to give back to someone, or wanting to impart wisdom in some way to someone in your life who maybe has less experience in something that you've gone through that wasn't so great. Maybe this is a ritual that you're wanting to help them through. Maybe this is a habit in which you're wanting to help make sure that they don't fall into, like you've maybe fallen into in the past. There's also this feeling too that like you're just really wanting to nurture someone and help someone grow. So this also could just be that you're really focusing on your kids, on your nieces, your nephews, your loved ones, who maybe have less experience or are younger than you in some way, and you're wanting to impart wisdom or wanting to share parts of your past, wanting to really rekindle a relationship there, and making sure that it doesn't go stale, or making sure that you're making time for them as well, because the Devil can talk about routines in which we get into that can get us into a rut, that can make us fall into pitfalls, that can make us go through situations in which we, didn't intend. And so if this is also happening maybe for you, not just talking about wanting to make sure that they don't fall into it too, this can be also talking to you just like this month is a really good time to reevaluate your own habits and rituals, and make sure you're making time for those younger ones in your life, making sure that you're not falling into these pitfalls that actually put you in a situation in which they can't really rely on you, or you're not able to impart that wisdom, right? This is kind of, if these were just together, I would say like it was an easy path for you to be like, okay, so this has happened to me in the past and I don't want this to happen for you. But because you have the Devil showing up in here, it's also making me think that not only is it to make sure that you have time to connect with these people in your life, these loved ones which are younger than you, younger cousins, nephews, nieces, children of your own, however you feel this person is to you, the devil is also showcasing to me that there also could be roadblocks, not just in connecting with them, but also making sure that they don't, like sometimes when you push and push and push to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this thing, maybe this isn't good for you, or you put too many limits on something for someone to try to protect them, you actually end up putting more taboo, more opportunities for rebellion to come forward. So having really honest but still freeing conversations with this individual or people in your life is really important too, right? Not just saying like, well, this happened to me, so you should definitely not do this, right? But making it seem like there's a compelling reason why, I think is really important, and honesty is really important in any conversations you have over this coming month. So you have quite a blend of things that are happening here, so I want to look a little deeper. We're going to see a card to look into your blessing coming forward this month, or an energy most in your favor this month. So let's see what that is for you, group 1. Okay, so you have bloom in the cracks, resilience. Makes a lot of sense. This is totally talking about, we even have some thorns and cracks showing up within this card, and you have those same thorns and crack kind of energy happening within the devil. And so the fact that this is showing up, and you even have that same sort of bird of paradise horn showing up here as well, tells me that you've gone through these cracks. You know how to bloom beyond them. You know how to navigate them, but you're wanting to, again, impart that wisdom. This is also what you're probably looking back on, as this is showing up in multiple places. You're looking back on those experiences, and not only are you helping others maybe grow through something similar, or to warn them or to caution them of a particular situation that you've gone through similarly, but also I just think in general right now, maybe you're going through a situation of your own where there are cracks forming, but you're finding a way to be resilient moving through them. So resilience and adaptation, and being able to look at a situation and change your mindset and change your frame of view is really important as you continue to grow, so that you don't stay stuck in those cracks, right? If a crack can form, but we can also form above or below the crack, right? We can be stuck in it and we can just, accept that, or we can find a way to climb out. We can find new opportunities, look for footholds, find different ways to climb out of that situation. And I think that's what you're really doing. And I think that's the resilience calling out within you this coming month. So I'm not going to say this is an easy month for you, because like I said, you're not only imparting wisdom, but you might also be having to rethink routines and rituals and ruts and pitfalls that maybe you've fallen into. But you're also finding footholds to find a way out, because you've experienced things similar before. So you're going to be able to move through this as well again. That's the way that I'm really seeing this anyway. So let's go ahead and look at your relationship card. And especially since we have this page, I want to kind of hone in more on that. But we're going to see just in general how relationships are looking this month. So group 1, relationships for group 1 this month. So you have wildflower, live an uncontrolled life, free to grow anywhere, and bound by nothing. So this is, again, maybe talking about that freedom feeling that I was talking about, making sure that when you do impart any wisdom on someone, that you're not putting them in a situation where they don't feel like they have freedom, or that they can't be wild and free in some way. You also have success, bloom wherever you are planted, with this little buttercup here as well. So it does seem like this is going to be successful, the way that you end up imparting that wisdom, or imparting that experience, and showcasing your experience with honesty so that they can continue to grow. But there's also this feeling just in general that you're going to have a lot of success in relationships this month, especially if you're trying to grow or nurture a particular relationship. And also that these relationships might allow you to feel more free, especially if you're honest within them, especially if you want to showcase your resilience and showcase that maybe you're in a crack. You could find a lot of success and more footholds to get out if you also allow yourself to lean on other people, or share how you've maybe gone through this before, you're going through it again, and how can you navigate it in a new mindset and a new frame of view. So it also seems like you can really lean on specifically friendships, I'm getting a feeling for this month, and seeing how they can be a piece in that resiliency and be a piece of your healing and growth this month. So let's look at Libra season now. So we're going to pull a Libra season card and see what you got going on for this one. Like I said, I already did a video all about balance, specifically with the equinox and Libra season coming in and everything like that. So that's already up if you want to go check that one out. But this one's specifically going to be looking into a charm in which you could take on, a personality in which you could take on this Libra season, because Libras can be very charming and very alluring as people. And so this is a opportunity for you to really take on that charm, that charismatic charm, and see how that comes forward for you. So I want to see what kind of personality traits are coming forward for you for Libra season. That would be good to do. So we've got the Buttercup. Perfect. This one really can talk about looking to the past as well. It almost feels like, when I look at this one, like a little mirror to the past. So again, that's showing up here that you're feeling nostalgic, not just even for everything we've talked about here, but just in general, feeling that happy nostalgia of looking to the past and feeling cozy and comfy in it. So there can be that comfort energy that's coming from the Buttercup. Let's see what else. Group 1 for Libra season. So you also have Holly. Interesting. This one is definitely a few seasons away, right? This is more of a winter suit, whereas this one is spring. So we're really talking about more of those between seasons. And it's interesting that you got Holly as well, because Holly is one of those cards that tell us to really slow down and take things in. There's like this call from inside the house feeling that's coming from this card as well, you being the house. So it feels like there's something going on here where there's all these prickly things around you, and yet you're still trying to call out, you're still voicing your opinions, you're still sharing your story, right? You don't have to be a success story to be able to share your experiences or share where you've been, or to share that you're in a prickly, hard, difficult situation. So right now, I feel like sharing your truth, whether that's with someone, again, to kind of impart wisdom, or because you need that support from friends to build that resiliency in this particular thorny situation that you've got going on. Regardless, I feel like this month really falling, or rather leaning on friends and relationships in your life, are going to be really important and bring more success to you. So I feel like Libra season's a great time for you to really focus in on looking to the past, but also to focus in on how you can continue to find support moving forward. So let's go ahead and see what the charms have to say to finish off your reading here. So I'm going to pull a few for you. Okay, interesting. They're all kind of falling in different directions. I'm going to zoom you in here so we can see, but this one couldn't decide. It kept kind of falling around, but this is the charm to showcase like a spiritual leader in your life, or someone who you really look up to. This can represent a spirit guide as well, or a loved one beyond the veil, but regardless, it kept swinging and penduluming. So maybe if you guys work with a pendulum, that could be something to consider, especially if you're looking through a looking glass, looking to the past in some way, especially if you're looking for advice related to that devil card and any habits and rituals in which you might be changing or shifting mindset on. But regardless, it feels like this is a good time to reach out or start reaching out, putting offerings out, or wanting to just saying out loud, hey, I'd like to work with you, right? Sometimes it can be as simple as that, but this is a good time for you to start really honing in on some of those more spiritual relationships. You also have on this watering can here the bird, and this is the bird of hesitation, because I have lots of different birds in my set, and this bird is still sitting on the branch. They're not able to move forward alone. And it makes me think of like a little fledgling who doesn't know how to fly, and they're hesitating on the branch. They're not sure how to move forward. And so again, sort of same as this holly that's happening over here, you're hesitating, you're wanting to water your plants, you're wanting to grow and bloom in these cracks, but the only way in order to do that is to also find support elsewhere. So I think that's an important key player to this. And then you also have the sort of wedding bells, or the little bell charm. Bells usually representing needing to celebrate something. So there could be celebrations happening within these cracks, and maybe that's why you might be reaching out or seeing people you don't normally see as often and wanting to celebrate them and celebrate those relationships. But it can also represent, especially since it's coming from behind you, this like feeling of time pushing on your back, pushing you forward. And so that's also something to consider, that maybe you're just feeling like that nostalgia feeling of wanting to hold on to the past as time continues to move forward too. And that might be a bit of a melancholy that happens there as well. But overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have here for your month of October and Libra season. I hope that this has been useful and helpful to you, and if it was, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below. It's been lovely hearing your guys' comments lately and seeing what you see in the different cards and in the charms and how you guys are doing. If you're interested in this pick a card reading, or all the other readings and art magic videos as well as charm casting videos on my channel, then definitely feel free to subscribe. And if you're interested in supporting yourself as well as supporting the channel further, then definitely feel free to check out the snail mail readings that I have open at this time, where I can send a letter to you in the mail, typewritten on a vintage typewriter. It's wax sealed closed for your eyes only, diving deep into any question or query that you have on your mind. And there's also little extras that you can get for that for magical reasons too, if that's something you're interested in for this spooky month. But also if you're interested in getting your own sigils, magical symbols, or even just a fun little stamp that you'd like, I love to hand carve stamps and would love to hand carve a stamp for you to send to you. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out for one of those. And I also have other things like Samhain spell and ritual papers that you can get to connect with your own loved ones beyond the veil, write letters to them as we get closer to Samhain. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out for that as well. With all of these, if you have more questions, feel free to send me an email. I would love to send more information your way. But with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off this reading. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you decide to choose this little vial of mustard seed or eye of Newt, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring your month of October, looking into the biggest, highest energies coming forward, blessings, relationships, and we're also going to be looking into Libra season. I have recently done a video on what's in and out of balance in your life that I just put out last week, going into a bit of Libra season, so if you want more information on that, you can feel free to check out that video after this one. But we're going to be looking into another aspect of Libra outside of balance, so we're going to be playing around with that. We're going to be doing all of this with the charms as well as several different oracle decks, and we're also going to be playing around with the Antique Anatomy Tarot because it was screaming at me to use it today. So we're going to be playing around with this one. Perfect one for Libra season because it showcases both the botanical and the more fallish themes, so it's a perfect time to have that in-between equinox energy still at play as we move forward into October. But I'll have all of this, as always, listed down below in the description alongside the other offerings that I provide in case you're curious. But let's go ahead and get started with looking into your 3 main energies coming forward for the month of October. So feel free to send your energy in, get a cozy spooky drink, and we'll get right into this. So group 2, what do you got going on for the month of October? So first off, you have the 3 of coins showing up here. Let's see what's surrounding it. You also have Judgment, as well as the King of Coins. Okay. So you're getting 2 Pentacle cards or coin cards showing up here alongside Judgment. And Judgment is the card we're heading towards, right? That's towards like the end of the month, or the energy that's most prevalent, but it's coming forward at the end. That's how the feeling I'm getting here. And Judgment is a card that immediately a lot of people think it's about judgment or being judged in some way. But instead, a lot of the time, I tend to see this card more so as an opportunity to sort of wake up to something, an awakening of sorts, a feeling of waking out of this coffin, right, and heading back out into the world, finding life again. And so there's this feeling that like something is sparking you, something is awakening you, something is awakening within you, a flame is growing. There's this feeling of feeling determined or more ambitious about things again, or a feeling of just moving from one life stage to another. This also can represent that, moving from one, like a birthday or a celebration of sorts, or moving from a stage in life where you once were over here doing one thing and you're moving to an entirely different thing. So it could be a job change, it could be any kind of transition really, but one that's going to awaken you, something that's going to awaken something that is blooming within you. So this is a very positive card. I feel like in your case, this is feeling like a very positive change, moving from maybe not something that was negative before, but just in general, it is moving to something that is positive. So even if you're going from positive to positive or negative to positive, regardless, you're still ending with something quite positive towards the end of the month, or feeling more ambitious to move forward into a new life phase, a feeling of a spark growing. Maybe you're not actually moving from one phase to the next, but you're feeling a spark towards it, a positivity towards it, an optimism towards it during this month, even if it's something still months ahead. You also have the King of Coins next to the Three of Coins, and the Three of Coins represents collaboration. It represents working together. Threes in general are representing networking, collaborating, working together in some way. And you have that next to the King of Coins, who the King of Coins or the King of Pentacles is someone who has a lot of abundance. They're in a good spot, right? This is either a good spot financially, or they're in a very good spot where you feel very stable, not just emotionally stable or financially stable, but just in general, there's this groundedness to you, and even maybe in your personality, in your confidence. And, you know, sometimes people bring out confidence in this very arrogant or very, there's still a hint of insecurity behind it, kind of way. And in this case, it's a very stable confidence. You're bringing out this very stable, confident energy that's coming forward here. And maybe that's what's helping you to spark to move forward, because you're feeling stable enough to do so, or feeling in a place where you feel at peace and at ease in order to do so. Especially since the Three of Coins, yes, it represents collaboration, but it can also represent collaboration of different ideas, as you can see the different coins here, but it also can showcase us looking at different viewpoints and sometimes judging those viewpoints. So in this case, I feel like the king is showing up here in this central coin in this sort of roundabout way, and it feels like you are in a situation in which you are feeling confident and comfortable enough to collaborate with others, maybe even sharing your ideas on how you want to start moving forward, what's blooming within you, that fire in your soul that's starting to spark and create this awakening in you. Maybe you're wanting and you're feeling comfortable enough to share that with others, to actually put that out into the world now. Maybe it's something that's been brewing on the inside, but now you're starting to voice it and be like, hey, I think I might change jobs. Hey, I think I might do this thing. Hey, my birthday's coming up. How about we celebrate it? Hey, I'm in a stable enough place to do X, Y, and Z now. So there's something showing up here where you're wanting to actually share that with another in your life, possibly and most likely someone who's involved in the situation. But in general, I just feel like you're in a really stable spot. This is also just a good month to collaborate with others, a good month to be waking up earlier in the morning, and also just a good month to really be focusing in on yourself and your own confidence and seeing where that confidence can take you, especially when networking and collaborating with others. So let's see what else is coming for you for the month of October with a blessings card. So this one is going to be looking into any blessings coming forward from spirit, but you can also see this as an energy most in your favor if that's not really your thing. So let's see what that energy is or blessing is for you. Group 2 for the month of October. Group 2. What's a blessing coming forward for Group 2 for the month of October? An energy most in their favor. Okay, so you have Dance in the Rain, Joy. I think this one has come up a couple of times since I've gotten this deck, and it actually is the energy like when I did a sort of deck interview with this deck. This is the one that kept coming forward to kind of introduce the deck to me. So this one clearly loves to play, and Dance in the Rain is an energy obviously about, yes, things aren't going to be perfect this month. You're still going to have rain, you're going to have pitfalls, you're going to have delays, you're going to have things that start to rain on your parade, and yet you're still finding a way to find joy in it. You're still finding a way to enjoy the situation in that moment because you're feeling stable enough to do so, right? When we feel confident in our selves and who we are, we can move and navigate through situations a lot easier and with more ease because we aren't second guessing things as much. We're not trying to push things away. We're not thinking that this rain has come to dump itself on us because we deserve it. It becomes just sort of an everyday thing that happens in life, and sometimes that happens and sometimes that's how it goes. And because you have this confidence to move through the situation, or the stability within you, a foundation in which you can stand really true and strong on, I feel like you're just able to enjoy the situation a lot better, and to enjoy not only while it's raining or while you have these delays or these things, these pitfalls that come forward to you this month, the angers or other things that might show up, but just in general, this is also telling me that you're enjoying the rain, you're enjoying the challenge, you're enjoying allowing yourself to enjoy regardless of the fact that there's something going on around you that could be very difficult, right? Even though there's things happening that are very difficult around us, does not mean we're not allowed to have and make jokes, that we're not allowed to be silly, that we're not allowed to enjoy laughter and play and fun and the silly little hobbies that we like to do on a Sunday afternoon, right? Things are scary in the world. The world is overwhelming. There's so many challenges we have to take on, and to enjoy life, to just enjoy the moment and not let that swallow us up, is a really, really big blessing for you this month. So definitely take that on and see how it awakens something maybe even within you. So let's look further to relationships this month and see what comes forward for you for relationships. This is all relationships in general, but if you have a specific one, feel free to send it through, whether it's spiritual, familial, platonic, or otherwise. You have bloom and attract more butterflies. You might be feeling more attractive, flirty this month even, charming in some way, as well as strength and courage coming forward. So you have what might be blooming is both your strength and your courage, which makes a lot of sense with everything that we've had talked about already with the King of Coins. It says here, courage when picking roses, don't fear the thorns. So this is interesting, especially with relationships, right? Because some relationships, right, we move into them, we get started talking to someone, we bring in our charms, we're blooming through a relationship, and then we realize there are faults, right? There are things that you're like, ooh, this isn't so great. That might be a flag, these other things. And I'm not saying to ignore those flags or to ignore those situations, those thorns along your path, but to know that you can still enjoy someone regardless of those thorns, right? It doesn't represent or mean that it's a bad thing that you found someone attractive or you found that situation attractive. There's something about that coming forward where it's like, yes, there's going to be thorns, but that doesn't necessarily mean the rose doesn't smell good. You know what I mean? But in general, courage, strength coming forward as something that you're also bringing forward into a relationship. Maybe you're allowing someone to also move forward and dance in their own rain, right? This also can showcase that you're being a rock for them this month, that you're someone who's bringing courage and strength into a relationship and strengthening relationships. You also have, with strength, don't let weeds and thistles cultivate your garden, which is interesting because we just talked about this one, which is showcasing like a very different energy, right? This one's like, despite the thorns, still love them, but this one's like, okay, but there's thorns, so maybe don't put them in your path. So I think you might also be tossing up a little bit right now with maybe if you have any new relationships coming into your life where you're starting to see their thorns, starting to see their true colors, especially with the colors of this umbrella showing up here, that it's not that you have to entirely put this person out of your life because these thorns or these personality traits are starting to come forward or flaws, but rather that it's up to you what you decide to do, that you don't necessarily have to entirely weed them out, but just that you have to be aware that those thorns are part of the package too. So we have that showing up here, relationships blooming, strengthening, especially deepening this month. Let's see what's going on for Libra season. Like I said, I just did an entire video on a bit of Libra season and the equinox around balance because of the scales of Libra, but also Libra can talk about charming energies as well, because Libras can be very charming and charismatic and talkative and very good with their personality and being able to kind of blend in any situation or circumstance, because they're able to balance those scales for different people. But in this case, I want to look into your personal personality and how it might be shifting or changing, or what kind of person you are when it comes to your personal charms this month, or this Libra season. So let's see how that might be coming forward for you. What charms might group to have? You have Hawthorn showing up here alongside Rose. Interesting. Rose is an energy that can really talk about bringing people together, which makes sense with that blooming energy that we talked about, bringing courage to a situation. You're someone who is able to really help other people open up, like a rose. So there's that feeling of that's a personal charm that you have coming forward here, of allowing other people to speak and listening to them and listening to their flaws, listening to their situations, so you can strengthen a relationship, but also to show them how they can continue to bloom and grow as well. And Hawthorn talks about a very different energy. A lot of things are blooming around you, and yet you maybe don't feel like you are personally blooming yourself. But in this case, I feel like because you have so much going in here, showcasing you blooming, showcasing you growing, showcasing you in a situation of blooming and transformation and having really grown, this tells me that maybe you are charming to other people, and charming to people specifically who are still trying to grow, because you're someone they can look up to, someone whom which they can follow in your footsteps with, someone whom which they admire and respect. And so there's an energy of respect and admiration coming forward here with Hawthorn as well, and that being a personal charm for you this month too. So I'm going to pull you some charms to finish off your reading and see what else comes forward. Feel free to have a little conversation with them and see. I have an entire video on how you can create your own charm set if that's something you're interested in, because the month of October, and especially heading towards Samhain and Halloween, this is the perfect time to really start cultivating your own set if you'd like to. So I'll have that in the description, but let's pull some for you. Okay, we got 2 circle charms coming forward. I thought maybe that it was the ring when I was holding it, because it felt like a ring stuck on my thumb here. But it actually is the spiral loop charm showing up here. It feels like a spiral or something, that this is an energy that you've been in for a while. So I feel like you are very aware that people find your personal strength, your resiliency, your stability to be something that a lot of people look toward as a very positive and charming aspect to you, and is something that sometimes can maybe get you in a situation where people spiral in that you weren't maybe expecting or wanting in your life, because they just sort of want a therapist, or they want someone whom which they can always have an ear to listen, but they don't really listen back. So that's something to think about with those relationships this month, those thorns. You also have heading towards collaboration here, kind of between the two up here above you, is the bat charm. And the bat represents intuition and really working with our intuition and growing that in order to continue to grow. And so there's this feeling of maybe working with spirits this month, or wanting to cultivate more a spiritual relationship, a magical relationship at this time. Especially around that collaboration energy, and relating to wanting to impart wisdom upon you, looking for a wise source of wisdom for you, especially since you have the wise owl showing up here near the elbow. So something to sort of help hold that umbrella and help kind of guide you forward to continue to stay out of the rain. You also have here the romance charm. I see this sometimes, or it can just represent like a really intense love for something, and that's showing up here on the clouds, which is really interesting. Also next to rose, which can represent love, right? A budding love, something to bloom, as we've talked about here. So some of you might be dating or going through like a new life stage within a relationship that is blooming here. But also can just talk about, again, like loving someone's flaws, loving and dancing in the rain and enjoying them regardless of their flaws. And then you also have the breaking a cycle charm, which is really interesting because it fell right on dance in the rain around joy. And so it's kind of maybe breaking a cycle of feeling like having to stay down in the dumps or having to stay in a situation in which everything is gloomy, and you're finally breaking free of that particular cycle. So that's really good to see as well, since you're also breaking cycles with the Judgment card. So overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have here for you for the month of October, as well as Libra season. I hope that this has been useful and helpful to you, and if it has, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below what you saw, what your intuition was budding forward within this relationship, within these thorns, within this reading, and everything that we saw here. And if you're interested in more pick a card readings like this one, I put out new readings every single Monday that you can check out, as well as art magic videos and videos, like I said, on charm casting if that's something you're interested in. So definitely feel free to subscribe. And if you want to look into getting your own personal private reading that I send to you in the mail, typewritten on a vintage typewriter, wax sealed closed for your eyes only, really diving deep into any question or query or theme in your life on your mind, then snail mail readings is the way to go. I have lots of information over on my Instagram with information about any helpful and honest reviews over there that you can look into as well in my highlights. But you can also check out the Samhain spell and ritual papers that I have out right now, so you can get a little bundle of papers to really use for reaching out to spirit, for working on psychic powers, for protection for this particular time of year, any kind of magic you'd like to get up to, as well as looking into getting your own magical sigil stamps or looking into getting your own particular more magical stamps to use, as I carve custom hand-carved stamps as well, and would love to carve one for you if that's something you're interested in. Lots of ways to support the channel as well as support yourself, so feel free to check out all the information for that on my Instagram, or if you can't find what you're looking for there, feel free to send me a message or send me an email, and I will send more information your way. So with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off this reading. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Group 2, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, Group 3. If you decide to choose this little vial of apple seeds, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring your month of October for the biggest and highest energies coming forward, for blessings or things that are most in your favor, as well as relationships and specifically Libra season. I actually have already put out a video on Libra season as well as the autumn or spring equinox, so if that's something you're interested in, you can check out this one after, or that one after. It'll be the last video that I put out. But this one will be looking into other forms and reasons to look into Libra season for their charms. So even if you are not a Libra, this is still going to apply. But for those of you who are Libras out there, happy birthday to you all. We are going to be doing this with the charms, several different oracle decks, and the tarot deck of choice here today being the one that was screaming at me to use it, the Antique Anatomy Tarot. So all of this, as always, for the different decks and supplies will be listed in the description down below, alongside the different ways in which you can get your own snail mail readings or get your own private personal readings or other magical goods. So feel free to check all of that out if you'd like to. But we're going to look into specifically your month of October, this spooky month. So feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, comfy for this. Get a little blanket if you'd like. And I'm going to pull 3 cards to look into your month of October as a whole, the biggest energies coming forward. So feel free to send your energy in, put your intuition cap on, and we'll get started. So, Group 3 here for the month of October. What's coming forward for the month of October here? Group 3. Okay. So you have, first off, the Six of Rods coming forward, or actually no, the Nine of Rods rather, a very protective energy for sure, as well as the Nine of Elixirs. So we've got two nines coming forward, a finishing energy, a protective energy. Interesting. So we've got the Nine of Elixirs, or the Nine of Cups here, the Nine of Wands, or the Nine of Rods. Let's see what else is coming forward here for you. Ooh, interesting that these are still turned the other way. I'm going to turn them this way and then we'll see what happens. Group 3 here. Goodness, they're just flying out for your guys' pile. I think I'm just going to take the top one, because that's just what felt right. So you also have, alongside these 9 energies, the 8 of Blades, or the 8 of Swords here. Wow, lots of protective energy. The 8 of Swords can represent feeling kind of knotted up, tied up, held back, almost from within, right? It's not something else or things that are externally holding you back. But you might find this month that there's something in your life that is making you get kind of tied up in knots, ruminating on something, or getting kind of just looped in and lost. And it's a very complicated, knotted energy that's going on here, a complicated situation that is going on for you for this month. And because of those complications, I feel like you're really holding yourself back. I feel like you're really not even just holding yourself back, but personally trying to hold others back or at a distance, and so that you can find a bit of peace of mind. Because the Nine of Cups represents feeling really fulfilled. It means you're feeling really good. There's something in your life that you're feeling really good about, something that's really making you feel fulfilled, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's a hobby that you're enjoying, whether that's a particular secret piece of your life in which you're really enjoying and feeling fulfilled by, but don't really necessarily want to share with everyone in the class, right? You don't want to share it with everyone else. It's yours. And you're wanting to protect that. You're wanting to honor that. You're wanting to keep it close and safe to you, because you don't want it to become something that ties you up in knots. You don't want to overthink it. You don't want to feel insecure about it. You don't want other people, putting their nose into something that is not yours. And so even though I said that this feels like an internal knot situation where someone is kind of put you in this knotted cage, I do think it is also coming from within, because you can feel that intuitively. You're like, okay, if I go and tell this to my parents, or tell this to a friend, or tell this to someone else, they may judge me, they may make me feel insecure, they may put me in a situation in which I'm teased or not seen the way that I would like to, because maybe a relationship just doesn't really flow that way. Maybe they don't understand that particular hobby or love, or particular love for something in your life, but you do. You see the value in it. You understand what it is bringing into your life, and that's why you want to deeply protect it. I mean, look at this 9 of Rods. They are deeply protecting it. There's a whole fleet of rods in the way of the one at the back, because they're wanting to keep it safe, safeguard it, put it behind the flowers, don't let anyone see it. And so there also is this feeling of maybe having to put on a brave face this month, or having to put on a mask around other people, which can be really difficult, right? That also can put us into knots. That also can make us feel less free. But this card feels so open, right? All of these are shown and they're open and you can read them. A wish tonic, a bliss brew, a joy elixir, right? A love potion, all these different things. And then you have the complete opposite here with the the 9 of Rods, just trying to hold everything back. That you're having to put on a brave face or put on this mask because you don't want anyone to see what is happening here. So all they're seeing is your anxiety, your insecurity, and also seeing this wall. And so that can put a little bit of a wall in your relationships. It can make it so that you're not able to connect on the level that you would like to, connect as deeply as you would like to, or as honestly and freely as you'd like to within these relationships. But there may be a very good reason why, because other people have put you down or don't understand the particular thing that you're talking about. Maybe it isn't safe to share these things, or because, you know what, we're allowed to have our own secrets, we're allowed to have our own life, we're allowed to have things that we love that we don't have to share with everyone. And that's totally valid too. But I do see you having a bit of a battle or an internal battle around this month. But it's not going to mean that these things aren't still fulfilling. It just means there's a lot of things going on around it in terms of sharing this particular hobby, love, this particular relationship or thing that brings you joy. So let us continue forward by pulling you a card on your particular blessings coming forward, or an energy most in your favor this month if you're not really into the blessing idea. But just in general, this is going to be from spirit guides, or just in general, an energy most in your favor. So let's see what that is for you. Group 3 here. Queen Bee, authority. Interesting. The Queen Bee is a really interesting one because the Queen Bee is right. Like, they're the one who is calling the shots, like in a hive, right? They're the one who is the whole reason the hive even exists and continue to thrive. And so the fact that you have the Queen Bee with authority coming forward here, all these little worker bees surrounding them, showcases that whatever it is that is bringing you a lot of love and joy is something that is bringing authority into your life, is giving you self-permission. Sorry, I had a hiccup there, but self-permission to be able to take on the things that you love and you care about and you want to pursue. And maybe it isn't for the good of the hive. Maybe it isn't for the good of the people around you. You don't want to have a hive mind, right? It's even interesting that what is holding all of these rods in place are like sort of flowers that have that bee energy to them, like with that color. And so it makes me feel like you're going in a very different way. You're wanting something very different, and yet you're feeling like you have to continue to do what the hive says or what the hive wants, and not really looking after what you need, what would fulfill you, what would really make you feel excited and happy about life. And so there might be a very good reason why, the queen has their own secrets. And so that's coming forward, this self-authority, this authority over your life, this sovereignty, this feeling of being the one in control, the one who gets to call the shots. And it's a reminder that you have your own particular authority that you get to wield in your own life. You get to have your own secrets. You get to have your own particular way in which you want to go about things, where other people aren't going to put you in knots or tell you off, because you're the one who gets to call the shots here. So there's a lot of things going on here with this Queen Bee, of putting yourself first this month, allowing yourself to, have your own secrets, have your own life. And I think that's a really nice one coming forward with everything here. And the pink flowers being surrounding everything, coming forward as well with those same pink flowers over here. I like when you can see that connection, whereas the things that are getting you in knots are like the little wings on the bees, right? And, bees will sort of wiggle their butts or move their wings in a particular pattern to communicate things to the rest of the hive coming from within. So there is also this feeling too of wanting to make sure that you are not just doing what the hive wants and getting yourself twisted in knots, but rather embracing what would actually be beneficial and helpful to you. And if that means you have to put on a brave face, that's what's kind of coming forward this month. So let's go ahead and see relationships, especially since we have a lot of that coming forward anyway. If you have a particular relationship or relationships you'd like to look into, feel free to send your energy into the cards for that. But we're going to look into the overarching energy coming forward for relationships this month for you guys collectively. So you have be present, share, and weed here. Okay, so interesting that you'd have share, because we just talked about how you're wanting to kind of hold or secretize. Secretize, is that a word? I don't know, but you're trying to hold and withhold information. So the fact that you have share coming in here, and it literally even mentions a bee, with the busy bee should make time for each flower. The busy bee should make time for each flower with share. And it's like, you're not wanting to share these flowers. These flowers are not for them. And so it also says here, weed, don't tolerate less than you deserve. And so you're like taking those, planting them elsewhere in a little secret garden for yourself, with a little trowel here. And you have be present, use the hours, don't count them. So it also is that you still could be very present within these relationships. It doesn't mean that you're wanting to withhold everything, but maybe just right now isn't the time to bring it up. Maybe it's something you have to ease into the conversation. Maybe it's something you have to hold back because it just isn't safe to tell right now. Or it's something that, even if it's not from a place of judgment, maybe it's just like you're not personally ready to be able to share how much joy you get from this, because that is a very vulnerable thing to do. Outside of that, though, there is just in general within your relationships, this is a good time to weed out the people who are not good for you. This is also a good time to pinpoint who those people are that you're wanting to hold back or withhold information because you don't feel free in the relationship, and maybe that's something to consider or something to reflect upon. Some pros and cons to the relationship: being present, as in like being mindful of, is this relationship healthy for you? Is this a relationship in which you actually feel free within? Are you just withholding this for a couple of months, or is it something that you feel like you could never tell them? And maybe kind of seeing how much you value that relationship based off that information. And sort of share that even maybe with them. Interesting set of cards here. Let's go ahead and see a Libra season, though. So this is going to be looking into Libra season. Like I said, I already have a video talking about the balance side of the equinox and Libra season that I just put out. But this one specifically is going to be looking into Libra's energy of like charismatic energy, their charm. And so I want to look into your personal charm this month within your personality that you can really focus on. So let's see what that is for you. Group 3. So you have the sickle. And I also want to pull one more here. So you have the sickle, number 54. Alongside, what other charms do you have? The seed. Interesting. This is literally called the Seed and Sickle Oracle, and there's 54 cards in the deck, and you got the first card, or the 0 card, alongside the 54th card coming forward here. So I guess there's 55, but you have the sickle, and the sickle represents an ending, a closing off of something. And then you have the seed right next to it, showcasing a seed, a new beginning. So it also could be that the thing that you could really be focusing on this month is, again, they're even kind of showing up with each of these cards, right? Don't be planting like a seed in your garden that is actually a weed, but also making sure that you are very present in the things that you want to end or weed out within your relationships this month. So I feel like that's also coming forward. I feel like this month is going to be eye-opening around the relationships in your life that are actually supportive versus the ones that are a hindrance or holding you back, putting you in knots, making you feel like you have to mask or hold things back. And I'm not going to say that you have to get rid of these relationships, because there could be benefits on a supportive level in terms of like financial support or familial support or whatever it may be. This isn't an easy thing to just let go of and just cut them out of your life, plant new seeds, right? But it does showcase in your personality this month, or your charm this month, is that you see things clearly. You see things from a very clear point of view. These cards feel very clear, crystal clear. Endings, beginnings. But regardless of this crystal clearness, there isn't complexity to these two cards, right? Endings, beginnings. It's very clear, but it's also very surface level. We don't know what this ending is. We don't know what is beginning. We just know the bare bones. And so that's kind of the feeling that I get to with your charms. The way that you want to bring out your personality this month is also that it's a little bit surface level, because you're also wanting to hold things from beneath, from the complexity of the situation, or the things in which you want to protect. So there is that protective energy coming forward as well, underlining these charms, kind of like someone who goes to a party and they are very charismatic, did you actually learn anything about them at the end of the night? That's kind of the energy that I get from you guys. Like, you're really good at getting a conversation going on another person so they don't have to focus on you, so you don't have to share something you don't wish to. So that's the energy that I'm really getting here from these two cards. So let's see what you got with charms, though, and finish off any last little details. So feel free to send your energy in, and I'll pull some for you. Okay, so You got quite a few different charms. Let's see. Interesting that you got the pearl charm, because this can represent like royalty, as we have with the authority in which you are wielding, right? That feeling of financial security even is coming forward with the pearl. But the pearl also can represent something that, like, even though it looks beautiful on the outside, there's something happening on the inside, because a pearl actually represents like a wound within the oyster, right? So this is actually showcasing, or the clam or whatever it may be in. It represents, though, that like there was something that was a foreign body that made its way in, and then they had to calcite around it to make sure that it wouldn't harm the rest of their organs and internal organs, right? If we look at it that way. So when I'm looking at this, it makes me think too that there's something happening from within that you're protecting yourself from, and you're putting this beautiful layer over the top of it, glossing over it. So that energy is coming forward a lot with that queen bee, like a lot of authority figures in our life that we look up to, right? When we actually meet them and get to know them on a real level, right, that humanity comes in. And so there's people who maybe are really looking up to you. Maybe you're a leader in people's lives, or someone which has to put on a brave face around things so that you can have this clean, pristine energy coming forward. And that's definitely showing up here. You also have the pendulum showing up here next to the sickle charm. And the pendulum represents something swinging back and forth. But because we're also in October, the spooky month, heading towards the veil thinning, this might be a good time, and this was also in pile number 2, I believe. But it might be a good time to pick up a pendulum or use a pendulum in some way to communicate with spirit. Might be something to look into, but also just in general can represent time. You also have the closure charm showing up here. So again, someone showing their true colors, revealing their true colors, maybe a closure needed, or needing to be able to be much clearer within a relationship with someone. You also have the charm representing to go in a different direction than everyone else, taking the path less traveled, and that definitely makes sense. You're not following the herd, following the hive. You also have on the queen bee the cherry on top. Another feeling of like poise and like being clean and perfect and pretty, and you know, the cherry on top. There's this feeling of always having to be the good one, the one that always has all their ducks in a row, and really underneath the surface you're maybe more chaotic and there's a lot more going on, but you're having to put on this surface level energy, or this cloak over your personality, so that you always look like the good one, the perfect one, the one that has everything in order. So that's showing up here as well as something that you're maybe working through and using a bit more of your authority over this month to show your true colors, or being able to at least protect them. You also have the protective energy of the turtle. The turtle also represents that this month may be a slower one that doesn't move too quickly or too fast, or that you're slowly taking in more of these flowers as well, because it fell on the flower here, that you're wanting to take in more of the things that give you joy, bliss, excitement, happiness, rather than focusing too much on being the perfect one. And over on the seed of things that maybe you're planting this month, you have the charm of, sometimes I see this as collaboration, but it also makes me think of like people pushing you into a corner or pushing you into a wall, because when I was a kid I always saw these as like little people's heads. So it feels like people kind of pushing you into a wall or into a corner. And then you have it next to the cozy charm. So you're very comfortable with this. This isn't a new energy. This is a weed that's been in your life for a while. So you know how to navigate it, which just tells me that sort of sucks that you're in that particular position, but you're so comfortable with it, you're able to navigate it with ease, or a lot more ease than maybe someone else would outside of the situation. So there's a lot of capability there. So overall, those are all the charms and cards that I have for you. I definitely went a little over on your guys' pile because there was so much to read about. Definitely let me know what you thought of this reading by giving this video a like, and let me know in the comments down below what you saw, if you saw something differently, if there is a queen bee in your life, if there's other things going on. Feel free to let me know how things are. And if you are interested in more pick a card readings like this one, as well as educational videos on art magic and charm casting that I like to sprinkle in from time to time, then definitely feel free to subscribe. I also have lots of different things that you can get for your own support or way to support yourself as well as support this channel by getting your own snail mail reading, where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter, so it's easy and clear to read, wax sealed closed, it's for your eyes only, really diving deep into any question or query or theme that's been on your mind for a while for a personal tarot reading. And you can also get your own snail mail little bundle as well that comes forward with that, where I send magical spell and ritual paper your way too, and a magical sigil that you can use. So lots of different ways to add more magic to this as well. And I also love to hand carve stamps, so I'd love to carve your own sigils that you guys use often, or to carve other magical symbols that you love to use for magical stamps that you can use in your own bullet journal, grimoires, book of shadows, whatever you'd like. So feel free to reach out for those. And I also have spell and ritual papers out for your own spells and rituals revolving around Samhain. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out for those. If you can't find the information you're looking for either down below with honest and helpful reviews on my Instagram or other things, then feel free to just shoot me an email. I'd love to send more information your way. But with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and close off your reading. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.